I don't like fighting with her, but this is one where I'm going to stand my ground.
Okay, so he's got these two tastes. He's got this really manly, masculine.
It begins with a silence that feels heavier than any argument. The kind of silence that doesn't just fill a room, it splits a family. After years of loyalty, laughter, and shared screens on national television, Mykelti Brown, once considered the bridge between her fractured parents, now stands as the living symbol of the collapse that Kody Brown himself created. For those who have followed the Brown family's journey through the world of sister wives, this is not just another family argument. It's a generational unraveling of trust, faith, and identity. What started as a story about plural love has transformed into a cautionary tale of control, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion. Mykelti Brown, the second daughter of Christine and Kody Brown, was once the child her father proudly claimed as his own voice of reason. She defended him on camera, stood beside Robyn when other siblings distanced themselves, and often acted as the mediator in the chaos that surrounded the family's fractured dynamics. But now, she is the one publicly acknowledging what fans long suspected: the Brown family is no longer a family at all. The revelation came quietly, but hit with the force of an earthquake. In the epilogue of her memoir, Christine Brown wrote that Kody and Robyn had cut off their relationship with Mykelti. That line alone was enough to send shockwaves through the fanbase. How could the once favored daughter, the one who had publicly supported her father, even during his feuds with her siblings, be estranged from him? The answer came days later, from Mykelti herself, on a Patreon livestream where she broke her silence, not with anger but with a chilling calm. "It's not one-sided," she said. "We have fundamental disagreements. We don't talk, but that doesn't mean they cut me off. It's mutual. They're upset with me for some of the things I've said, and I'm not happy with some of the choices they've made. It's distance, mutual distance." That phrase, mutual distance, carries the quiet tragedy of every broken relationship. Behind it hides the pain, the anxiety, and the years of suppressed emotion that Mykelti later revealed were too much for her to carry. She confessed that even talking to her father triggered anxiety attacks, bringing back the trauma of years spent watching her family implode on camera. "I can't talk to him," she said. "Every conversation brings back too much. I'm not ready yet. Maybe someday, but not now." To understand the magnitude of this statement, one has to rewind to March 2024, the day the Brown family faced one of its darkest chapters. Mykelti's brother, Garrison Brown, the son of Kody and Janelle, died by suicide. It was a moment that shattered every illusion of the faithful plural family the Browns had once portrayed. For Mykelti, Garrison's death was not just the loss of a brother, it was the confirmation of everything that had been broken for years. The last time she saw her father and Robyn was at Garrison's funeral. Since that day, she has avoided them completely. "I haven't seen them since," she admitted. "Not once." In the months that followed, the emotional distance hardened into silence, and silence, in the Brown family, is often louder than any fight. The cracks that had long existed beneath the surface finally became visible to everyone watching. Kody's relationships with his children have deteriorated for years, but this, his estrangement from Mykelti, marked a new low. It wasn't just another child walking away. It was the child who once stood by him while everyone else turned their backs. Mykelti's story exposes something far deeper than family tension. It reveals the cycle of control and emotional manipulation that has haunted this family for over a decade. In the world of sister wives, perception is everything. Kody and Robyn have long crafted their public image as victims of jealousy and misunderstanding, the stable couple who survived while the others fell away. But Christine's book tore that illusion apart, and Mykelti's revelations are the echo of that truth. Image management, that's the phrase Christine used to describe Kody and Robyn's behavior. Behind every camera shot and every confession was a strategy: to appear pure, righteous, and deeply faithful, while privately isolating those who questioned their authority. Mykelti, at one time, believed in that image. She believed her father's words about unity, about forgiveness, about family. But slowly, those beliefs collapsed under the weight of what she witnessed: the favoritism, the manipulation, the way her father twisted narratives to maintain control. When she finally pulled away, she didn't do it to rebel. She did it to survive. Because loving someone who constantly gaslights you, who demands loyalty but offers no emotional safety, is its own kind of suffocation. The mutual distance Mykelti spoke of isn't just about physical space, it's psychological freedom, the ability to say, "I can't heal in the same room as the person who broke me." Still, the tragedy of it all is that Mykelti's story isn't unique within the Brown family. Her siblings, from Janelle's boys to Christine's daughters, have shared similar experiences of abandonment and favoritism. Many fans recall the devastating moment when Kody openly admitted on television that he didn't feel close to some of his children, blaming them for choosing their mothers over him. That statement, for many viewers, was the moment the mask slipped. It wasn't love he wanted, it was control, and when control was lost, he walked away. Mykelti's breaking point may have been years in the making, but the catalyst was undoubtedly the aftermath of Garrison's death. As grief tore through the family, Kody's reaction, cold, detached, and self-defensive, stood in stark contrast to the raw emotion of his children. Mykelti, heartbroken and angry, couldn't reconcile the image of her father the world saw with the man she experienced privately. "It's like two versions of him exist," she said. "The TV dad and the real one. And the real one doesn't want to deal with pain." Her words echo a pattern Christine described vividly in her memoir: Kody's obsession with appearing righteous while avoiding accountability. The show Sister Wives became not a family documentary, but a stage for performance. Every tear, every reconciliation, every family dinner, all carefully choreographed to sustain a narrative that had already died years ago. The truth, as Mykelti now sees it, is that the show didn't just document the family's collapse, it caused it. "As long as the cameras keep rolling, healing is impossible," she said bluntly. "Every time we try to move on, the show brings it all back. The old wounds, the old lies. And there lies the cruel irony. The very platform that made them famous is the same one destroying them." The show that began as a celebration of unity has become a living autopsy of a broken family. Mykelti's decision to speak out, softly but firmly, marks a turning point not just for her, but for the legacy of the Browns. Because what she's saying, between the lines, is that healing sometimes requires walking away from your own blood. Her relationship with her father may never recover. Her connection with Robyn, once her bonus mom, may remain forever strained. But what Mykelti gains now is something that no TV spotlight can replace: her own voice, unfiltered and free. And that voice, trembling yet resolute, carries a truth the cameras could never capture: that sometimes survival means silence. Sometimes love means distance. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say to those who broke you is nothing at all. It was supposed to be a quiet spring morning in March 2024, the kind of morning that should have passed without tragedy. But instead, it became the day that broke the Brown family forever. News of Garrison Brown's death spread like wildfire across social media and news outlets. The 25-year-old son of Kody and Janelle Brown had taken his own life, and the shockwaves were felt far beyond the walls of the once famous Sister Wives household. What followed wasn't just grief, it was exposure. Every fracture that had been hidden behind reality TV smiles suddenly split open for the world to see. And for Mykelti Brown, the pain of losing her brother was compounded by something darker: anger. Silent, simmering, and deeply personal anger toward her father, Kody Brown. In the months that followed, Mykelti's words painted a picture of a daughter who no longer recognized her father as the man she once defended. "I can't talk to him," she admitted in a Patreon livestream. "It gives me anxiety. Every time I try, I feel all the old trauma come back." The trauma she spoke of wasn't new. It was the accumulation of years spent watching Kody manipulate, distance, and divide his family under the guise of faith and leadership. But after Garrison's death, something inside her finally snapped. The emotional distance that once felt like quiet self-protection became a wall. Since that day in March, Mykelti hasn't spoken to her father, not once. She didn't attend the private remembrance, held for Garrison months later in July 2024 at his resting place in Wyoming. "I couldn't do it," she confessed. "It wasn't just grief. It was anger. Seeing him there, pretending to be the grieving father, when so many of us know the truth, it would have broken me completely." To the outside world, Kody Brown appeared somber and reflective at his son's funeral. But to those closest to him, including Mykelti, it was another act in a lifelong performance. "He wants to be seen as the man who tried," one source close to the family said, "but behind closed doors, he's the man who failed, again and again." Mykelti's heartbreak soon turned to bitterness, not because she didn't mourn her brother, but because she saw how his death exposed the emotional decay Kody had long tried to hide. "That boy didn't just lose hope in himself," she said quietly during one stream. "He lost hope in his family, in his father." And then came the line that made headlines, the moment when grief turned into a brutal kind of humor. Laughing, perhaps to mask the pain, Mykelti quipped on Patreon, "Anyone who reads my mom's book will instantly become a member of the I Hate Kody Club." It was said with a smile, but everyone understood what she meant. Christine's memoir didn't just tell her story. It ripped apart Kody's long-maintained image of the dutiful patriarch and exposed him as what many had quietly suspected for years: a man driven by ego, not love. A manipulator who wrapped his control in scripture and self-righteousness. Mykelti's remark was half joke, half confession, because behind that line was a daughter still grappling with the truth that her father's love had always come with conditions. In Christine's book, Kody and Robyn come across as the architects of an emotional empire, one built not on faith, but on favoritism. Through calculated words and staged sincerity, they maintained an image of stability even as their family fell apart behind the cameras. Mykelti, who once defended that image, now acknowledges it as a performance. "Reading her book was painful," she admitted, "not because she lied, but because she didn't. She told the truth, and once you see it, you can't unsee it." For years, fans believed that Mykelti was one of the few children still close to Robyn and Kody. She defended them on social media, posted smiling pictures, and called Robyn a good stepmom. But the reality was far more complicated. After Christine's departure and the subsequent chaos, Mykelti found herself caught between two worlds: the truth-telling strength of her mother and the manipulative pull of her father. "It's like being in two different realities," she once said, "the one on TV and the one we actually live in." And that brings us to the heart of the problem: the show itself. For Mykelti, TLC's Sister Wives is no longer just a platform, it's a poison. She said it bluntly: "As long as this show keeps going, our family will never heal." Those words cut through the illusion that still traps the Browns. The cameras, once symbols of success, have become shackles, forcing each family member to relive their trauma for an audience hungry for drama. Every confessional Kody gives about his lost children, every tear Robyn sheds about being misunderstood, is broadcast to millions, but not for healing, for ratings. And Mykelti knows it. "The show opens old wounds," she said. "Every time we try to move on, they bring it back. The fights, the betrayals, the pain. It's like living in a loop of our worst days." Her words resonate far beyond the Brown household. They expose the dark underbelly of reality television, how families are encouraged to fracture, how pain becomes content, and how personal tragedy is edited into entertainment. For the Browns, fame came with a cost too high to measure. The loss of privacy, the loss of trust, and now, the loss of life. Since Garrison's death, the once idealized concept of plural unity, the foundation of sister wives, lies in ruins. Janelle grieves quietly. Christine speaks her truth in pages of a book. Mary and Robyn exist like ghosts in parallel worlds. And Kody, he remains at the center, still spinning the narrative, still convinced that the world is to blame for his downfall. But Mykelti's silence toward him speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. She is not screaming, not lashing out. She is simply absent, and that absence is its own form of rebellion, a refusal to continue playing a part in the performance her father still clings to. Behind every smile on that show, there's a story of loss that never made it to air. Behind every camera, there's a moment when someone broke down and begged for the scene to stop rolling. The Browns may still call themselves a family, but in truth, they are a collection of survivors, each trying to reclaim pieces of themselves that fame, faith, and manipulation took away. Mykelti's journey, from loyal daughter to silent observer, is a mirror held up to the entire Brown empire. It shows what happens when truth collides with image, when grief exposes control, and when love becomes something you have to escape from to breathe again. And though she may laugh about the "I hate Kody" club, the truth behind that joke is anything but funny. It's the cry of a generation of children who watched their parents build an empire on faith, only to realize it was founded on fear. This entire saga unfolds like a painful family novel, except it isn't fiction. It's the real, raw, and deeply unsettling truth behind America's once celebrated plural family, the Browns. What started as a story of faith, unity, and unconventional love has now become a psychological battlefield of betrayal, manipulation, and emotional collapse. And at the center of this unfolding storm stands Mykelti Brown, Christine and Kody's daughter, who has now broken her silence and exposed the cost of being born into a reality TV dynasty. When Christine released her book, fans were shocked to read the epilogue, where she revealed that Kody and Robyn have cut off their relationship with Mykelti. But Mykelti, now a mother of 3 and far wiser than her years, responded with her own truth, one that reveals just how toxic and reciprocal this family fracture truly is. On her Patreon, Mykelti stated clearly, "It's not one-sided, we've both pulled away. They didn't just cut me off. I chose to step back too." That confession, calm yet devastating, painted a different picture. What was once seen as parental rejection is, in fact, mutual disengagement, the inevitable result of years of emotional trauma, manipulation, and public performance. Mykelti explained that even talking to her father triggers intense anxiety. She admitted, "Every time I talk to him, my anxiety spikes. It brings back every bit of the trauma I've tried to heal from." This isn't mere family tension, it's generational damage broadcast for entertainment. Since the tragic death of her brother Garrison in March 2024, Mykelti hasn't seen or spoken to Kody or Robyn. Even at Garrison's memorial in Wyoming that July, she was absent, too emotionally raw to face her father, too hurt to pretend things were fine. And when she laughed, somewhat bitterly, saying, "Anyone who reads Mom's book will join the I Hate Kody club," it wasn't mockery, it was catharsis. That one sarcastic line became symbolic, the rallying cry for every child, spouse, or viewer who once believed Kody's image of patriarchal perfection. Christine's book didn't just reveal dysfunction, it exposed years of gaslighting, favoritism, and coercive control that had destroyed the very concept of family from within. The emotional wreckage wasn't confined to Mykelti's story, it rippled outward, touching every corner of the Brown family dynamic, especially in the shadow of Garrison's death. Garrison's suicide wasn't an isolated tragedy. It was a symptom of years of neglect, division, and silent pain. Mykelti herself admitted that his passing was the final crack that shattered her fragile hope for reconciliation. After that day, she chose peace over pretense. But the deeper truth behind this implosion lies not just in family conflict. It lies in the machinery of reality television itself. Mykelti said what millions suspected but few dared to say out loud. As long as this show keeps going, our family will never heal. She was right. TLC's Sister Wives didn't just document the Browns' lives. It shaped them, distorted them, and repeatedly reopened their wounds. Christine wrote in her book that filming felt like living trauma in 3 stages. First, during the event itself, then while rehashing it in interviews, and finally when the episode aired months later, forcing them to relive every argument, every tear, every betrayal on national television. As Christine wrote, it's impossible to move on when your pain becomes someone else's entertainment. Mykelti echoed that truth with haunting precision. Even if the show ended today, it would take years for our wounds to heal. And those wounds run deep, carved by financial deceit, emotional manipulation, and moral conflict. The financial battle was the hidden war that few saw coming. During the pandemic, TLC's COVID filming policies created new tensions. Gabriel and Garrison, Janelle's sons, refused to comply. Their reason was brutally simple. We're not being paid. Why should we follow filming rules for a show that doesn't even compensate us? That one act of defiance became ammunition for Kody. Instead of understanding their frustration, he twisted the narrative, accusing his sons of disrespecting Robyn. Behind closed doors, Kody and Robyn had become the financial epicenter of the show, controlling most of its income, leaving the other wives and children with mere fragments. In Christine's own words, Kody used the show as leverage, not for the family, but for control. Robyn, often portrayed as the obedient wife, became the gatekeeper of both Kody's emotions and the show's continuation. To protect their income and image, they allegedly tightened control over everyone else, emotionally, psychologically, even socially. The show, once meant to portray faith-based unity, had turned into a gilded cage of dependency and manipulation. And then, there's the most heartbreaking revelation of all, the neglect of Truly, Christine, and Kody's youngest daughter. Christine's book paints a grim, almost unbearable picture. After the divorce, Kody saw Truly only 5 times in an entire year, never overnight, always brief. When she did visit, she often found herself alone, watching her father spend time with Robyn's children. She once confided to her mother, "I don't think Dad even sees me when I'm there." On one visit, Kody placed her in a separate suite, a detached mother-in-law room with no interior access, only an exterior door. For a child, it was isolating and unsafe. Another time, her room had no curtains, no decorations, just a bare mattress. Truly felt invisible, and when a child begins to prefer absence over attention, it's a tragedy no parent can justify. Eventually, Christine filed for custody in Utah. The details are sealed, but whispers from insiders suggest Truly told the court she didn't feel safe with her father. The case ended quietly. Kody lost custody. Christine never gloated, never lashed out. She simply protected her daughter the way no one had protected her for years. Through every revelation, one theme becomes painfully clear. The Browns were never just a family. They were a brand built on illusion. A brand Kody guarded fiercely, even as it devoured the people it was meant to celebrate. What Mykelti has done now, speaking publicly, reclaiming her voice, marks a generational turning point. For the first time, one of Kody's children isn't just surviving the chaos, she's analyzing it, naming it, dismantling it. She's showing the world that the cycle of control can be broken, but only by confronting the truth head-on. And as Christine herself said, sometimes the bravest act a woman can do is to walk away, not because she stopped loving, but because she finally started living. The story of the Browns is no longer a tale of faith or family, it's a case study in emotional survival. And while the cameras may still roll, what's unfolding behind them is far more real, far more raw, and far more heartbreaking than any episode could ever capture. Because in this family, love was once the foundation. Now, it's the lesson. Thanks for watching.